Did you know that in ancient times, people believed in many gods, and sometimes prophets would challenge each other to prove whose God was real? But one man, Elijah, stood completely alone. No army, no magic, no tricks. Just faith and a prayer that brought fire from the sky. This is a true story of a challenge that shocked the nation and a God who answered with fire. The people of Israel had forgotten who they were. Once, they followed the Lord, the God who brought them out of Egypt. But over time, they started worshipping Baal, a false god of storms, rain, and crops. King Ahab ruled Israel, and his wife Jezebel brought hundreds of prophets to spread false worship. She even killed the Lord's prophets. The land was dry, the sky had no rain, and the hearts of the people were even drier. That's when Elijah stepped in. Elijah had once stood before King Ahab and said, "There will be no rain, no dew, until I say so." And for 3 long years, there was nothing. Crops failed, rivers shrank, hope disappeared. But even in hiding, God took care of Elijah. He drank from a stream. Birds brought him food. Later, a widow shared her last meal with him, and God made her flour and oil last until the drought ended. Elijah waited until God said, "Go show yourself to Ahab. I will send the rain." But first, God had to remind the people who he really was. Elijah met Ahab again. "You're the one causing trouble," the king said. "No," Elijah answered. "You left God. You followed Baal. That's the real problem." Then Elijah gave the challenge. "Gather all the people of Israel. Bring the 450 prophets of Baal. Meet me on Mount Carmel." The mountain was filled. The king came. The prophets of Baal came. The people stood in silence. And Elijah stepped forward and asked, "How long will you jump between two sides? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, then follow him." But the people didn't say a word. So Elijah laid out the plan. "We will each prepare an altar, but we won't light the fire. The God who answers with fire, he is God." Everyone agreed. The prophets of Baal went first. They built their altar, placed the bull, and began to shout, "Baal, hear us!" They danced. They jumped. They screamed from morning until noon. Nothing happened. Elijah teased, "Shout louder. Maybe your God is asleep, or on a trip, or thinking." So they shouted louder. They cut themselves with knives. Blood spilled, but still no fire. There was no voice, no answer. No one was listening. Elijah stepped forward. "Come near to me," he said. The people gathered around. He rebuilt the altar of the Lord, the one that had been broken. He took 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He dug a trench. He laid the wood. He placed the bull. And then he poured water on it. 3 times, until everything was soaked, until water filled the trench. People watched and whispered, "What is he doing?" Elijah looked up and prayed, "Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, let them know today that you are God in Israel, that I am your servant, and that I have done all this because you told me to. Answer me, Lord, so that these people will know you are turning their hearts back to you." Then the fire of the Lord fell. It burned the bull, the wood, the stones, even the water, everything gone in a flash of fire. The people dropped to their knees. The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God! Elijah told the people, grab the prophets of Baal, don't let them escape. And they were removed from the land. Then Elijah climbed back to the top of the mountain and prayed again. He sent a servant to look at the sea. The servant returned. Nothing. 6 times, nothing. But on the 7th time, I see a small cloud, like a man's hand. Elijah said, tell Ahab to ride fast. The rain is coming. And just like that, the sky turned dark, the wind blew, and the rain returned. Elijah was one man, outnumbered, alone, but full of faith. He didn't need a sword. He didn't need a crowd. He just trusted God. And when he prayed, God answered. Maybe you feel outnumbered too. Maybe people around you don't believe what you believe. But remember this, it doesn't take a crowd to stand for truth. It just takes courage and faith. What would you have done on that mountain? Would you have followed the crowd or stood alone like Elijah? Leave a comment with your answer and subscribe for more cinematic Bible stories brought to life.